Hi everyone, Zena here. Well, I've not been on for quite a while. I'm just making this tutorial of how I do my altered dominoes. I'm doing this for my ladies on Make It and Mail It site. So go on over and have a look, see what they're about. Okay, so basically you can use different types of dominoes. So the one that I've got here is made from a blank, I don't know if you can see that very well actually, sorry about this, but let's see if I can get it better. It's just a plain blank domino, and that's made of MDF, and that's from Fernley Designs. I buy those from, and they're really cheap, really good, easy to use. I also use these types of dominoes. This one is the one I got from Jackie Douglas, and you can put your image on there and have that as the domino on the side or whatever. I found it a little bit difficult trying to get this into the top, so what I use is I use a little tool like this, which is like a little drill, which I've got a little vise, and I put that in there, and then I use some glue and stick that in to give me that little hook. I've also got these ones which are a little bit smaller than these, quite a lot smaller, as you can see. And that one is sort of a medium size, so there you go, they're the different sizes. And these dominoes you get for £1 in the works. So here we go. So basically what you will need is some scissors, you need some paper, you need some little jewellery finding bits and pieces. So what I tend to do is I get this, and then I'll print out an image, which I then cut and glue onto here. I mean, I use vintage images because I love the vintage look, but you could use any type of image. You could use any type of paper that you like. You can cut something out of the paper. If you see a bird, a butterfly or anything like that, you could paint it. You can add anything really to it, whatever you fancy. This is the white one I'm doing. Okay, so what I would do is I would stick that image on, and I would just use this cheap tacky glue, which I got from Hobbycraft, a couple of quid for that big bottle, and it sticks on here really well. It sticks on most of the things. It sticks on this one pretty easily. So I would stick that on there. Next thing I would do I would either I usually distress my bits and pieces so they look old, so I use this and some distress ink. This is a Tim Holtz one, but you can use any type of one that you feel like, any colour to go with your theme. Alright, so that's what I would do on there, and then also on the back. Sometimes I cover the back, and this is actually just some sticky material that I found that I quite liked, so I just stuck that on the back of this one. It's quite nice. Sometimes it just depends on what I'm thinking. You can put anything on the back. You can have it plain, you can just paint it, you can put details on it, anything. Alright, so really simple. Again, the sides, I don't know if you can see that, that's got like glittery sides. Now I use stickles for this. I find them really easy to use. I also use the liquid pearls as well, so they're quite good for this type of thing. So there you go, those two. Okay. You can also use you know, bling, so you could use something like that. Cut that side out and stick that on. You could use hot glue, the tacky glue. Obviously if you use tacky glue then you've got to wait for it to dry. hot glue, it's virtually done. I also use these types of inks as well on some of my bits and pieces, different colours, and also I use, it looks a bit grotty, but I use an old sponge as well. So you don't need to have really expensive stuff. You can improvise and use lots of different things. So that's what I would do. So that would be your first thing. So you get this, put your image on, stick it on. Then I use something called glossy accents. Now this is like a it's like a shiny type of what do you call it, sort of a glue. It's glue, but it dries clear and is really shiny. So what I would do next is I would cover my, just going to do this quickly. Obviously you just got to be careful you don't put too much on and that you get all the, because it can go very, you get bubbles and different bits and pieces in it. So just be a little bit careful and just cover it all. Make sure that you fill in all the gaps down. It doesn't take too long really. I'm doing this so that you guys can actually see what I actually do. This glossy accents pot is roughly about, I think it cost me £5 for this pot, but actually I've used it on loads of different things. I also use it on my bottle top caps. I put an image in there and I would use the glossy accents over the top, and then that creates again the glossy shiny finish that you all see on my work. It's really good stuff, this. So okay, so I think that is, so you just look to the side and as you can see that's done. Okay, if you do have any if you do have anything that is there's a few like bobbly bits or whatever, I use this and I just go over like this and it gets rid of them. Obviously don't hold it in there, or you could use, you know, a pin or something just to pop the things. Okay, so I've now got to leave that, so you'd have to leave that at least 24 hours for it to set. Okay, I don't know if you can see this, but there, don't really want to hold it too much, but there you go. So that is what you would, that's the sort of image you would get. At the moment it's not very clear, but it will dry clear. Okay, so you need to put that to one side so that you've got the so it dries. Okay, next thing I would do from this is I would add the little screws. So again, I get these screws, I bought these from M's. These are really little tiny ones. I don't know if you can see these. Let me get my tweezers. Okay, so basically, I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, just about. Okay, so it's just a little screw. That's a little weeny one. I have got bigger ones that you can get as well, these ones. And what I do is I screw them into the top of here, like that. Okay, as I said, they will screw into these dominoes, but it won't screw into that one. I've tried it because it's like a porcelainy sort of effect, so I did have to use my thing and then glue it in. All right, so then what you would do then, once it's dry, I don't know if you can see that on there, once it's dry, there you go, the shiny, then you can decorate it. I've put a few little bits and pieces on there. Also, I do sometimes put the stickles on it before I actually do that process. So you can do that and it doesn't affect it at all. Okay, as I said, you can use any sort of image. So you could also use Mod Podge. This is a I think this is the matte one, but you can get a shiny one which isn't matte, obviously isn't matte. I don't know what I've done with it. It's around somewhere, but I don't know. It's about here. So anyway, yes, so you could use the Mod Podge, the Gloucester one, and that gives you a shiny effect. Not as shiny as obviously the glossy accents, but it will give you a shiny effect, and it will seal the actual domino picture. So yeah, so then once you've done that and you've put your bits on, you can attach your dangle. Now this has got, this one is, I've actually put that dangle on there. Okay, so there you go. So it's got a theme of Paris, and I've done it in all the different blues and things. Okay, right, so I'm just going to pop that up there because then it's out of my way and it's not going to go. Okay, so what I use for that is I have sorry guys, I've lost all flow of what I'm actually doing. So I use some beads, obviously, which I've got here. I've got an assortment of beads in here. I've got lots of different other types of beads. I use a piece of chain, which the chain I actually use is, I use all different sorts really, depending on what you want to do. I have mine in here. So I've got this one, which is like a bronze effect. I've got a silver thickish one, and then I've got sort of different varying types. And to be fair, you only need to have an inch, maybe 2 at the most. Well, 2 is probably miles too long. So all you would need is that much of your chain, okay? And then you would need to use your jump rings, okay, to attach your chain to your piece here, okay, and to make your dangle, and obviously attach your beads with the jump rings and that sort of thing. Then your top section, you could either use, again, you could use a piece of the chain, and you could attach that to the top. I also use like a lobster clasp for mine, for the top part. So sometimes I use these little ones, okay, but I've also got like these ones as well, okay. So I would put this through here, through the top section, and you can either tie it or do whatever, and again you could then put it through your little bit here and tie that on there, so that you've got this effect, okay. Alright, so that's that. You could tie a bow, you could put a bow in here, you could use all sorts of things really, and again attach the dangle at the bottom with your chain and your beads. I quite often put like a fairy on the bottom of mine, Oh yeah, these are your sort of jump rings. So basically, to make a fairy, it's really easy. So you would get your, you can use this, or you can use like some wire, okay? And you would need to use any type of sort of largish bead. So depending on what colour you're doing. So let's see what I've got here. So, okay. So I actually have a oval bead. I prefer to use oval beads for my fairies because it looks like it's their body, okay? And then I would attach, but you don't have to buy these, but this is what I do. I do like to have a fairy on my bits and pieces. So then I attach the wings, okay? And then obviously you need a head for this. So I would then attach something for the head, and obviously I need something that is big enough for this. You can use clear, doesn't really matter what, as long as it goes with the colour. So then you can put her head on. There we go. Okay, so it's getting there, isn't it? It's looking like a bit like a little angel. I then use a rondelle. You can buy these cheap enough on eBay. They come from China. So then I attach the rondelle with a little tiny bead in the top, and as I'm using blue, I'll get a little blue, tiny little blue one, and put that on there like that. Okay, so that's your, so there is your fairy. So basically, this is how I do mine. I then attach it like that, bring it round, make a loop like this. Yeah, so you've got that here, and then you go around with your, and you make your loop for your top. Can you see that? Okay, so you keep wrapping that around, or you could do it a different way. You could just loop it over and put it back into there. Some people do that, some people don't, just depends. And then you add your jump ring to that, and then you would add your add it to your dangle on your thing. Alright, so that's one of my fairies that I've made. I haven't finished it off, but I will finish it off later. I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial. I will come back and give you an overall look of when it is actually finished. I will put a video up with it finished, and hope that helps you, and thanks for watching. Bye.